Imagine waking up to a death sentence. Not just any terminal illness, but a glitch in your biology so insanely rare, the docs are literally planning to slap your name. Welcome to Kim Isaac's nightmare, his ticking clock. 6 months max before he flatlines. Reality completely dissolves around him. His brain is short-circuiting. He aimlessly wanders into an intersection, totally blind to the glaring red light. But honestly, bro could care less. It's game over regardless. Move it, you absolute moron. A stranger shrieks, violently shoving him onto the pavement, just as Truck Coon barrels past. Talk about the universe having zero chill. And the wildest plot twist. He literally just hit the mega lottery jackpot. You seriously cannot script irony this cruel. He crumples against the filthy asphalt, his knuckles turning white around that billion-dollar slip of paper. The panic sets in. He screams into the void, begging any higher power to bail him out. And hey, spoiler alert, someone actually picked up the cosmic phone. The catch. He gets dumped straight into hell, shoved into the body of a massive, hairless skeleton. And man, he absolutely despises this clunky new skin suit. Zero physical sensations, just rattling bones, strapped in heavy metal. But his emo pity party gets cut short because the underworld does not do timeouts. A vicious swarm of demonic hounds lunges straight for his throat. He casually shreds them into confetti. Instantly, a towering abomination stampedes his way. He merely smirks, cleanly lopping off its ugly mug with one buttery swipe. Boom! A blinding explosion of hellfire, and the final boss hits the dirt. Sweep complete. Chat. Welcome to Kim Isaac version 2.0. He spawned in as bottom-tier trash mobs, and relentlessly speed-ran his way up the food chain. Upgrading into a supreme undead lich, he now sits on the underworld's throne, totally idolized by every fiend and monster in existence. They are literally dying to fist bump the guy. All this massive hype actually gets him flustered. All hail the almighty King Isaac, the roaring crowd chants. You brain-dead morons, he suddenly snaps. Read the room, my name is Isaac, not Isaac. 5 whole centuries, and these clowns still butcher his name. But whatever it is, officially time to ditch this fiery dump and cash in his ultimate paycheck. Smash cut to the celestial realm. The room freezes in absolute horror as Isaac casually chucks a severed demon lord's head right onto their pristine marble floor. He locks eyes with the divine council of 5, chilling on their flashy golden thrones. All right, listen up. A deal is a deal. I mopped the floor with the underworld. Now hook me up with a human body, he barks. The deities start aggressively whispering among themselves, totally shook that he brute-forced a 500-year quest in record time. Dude is an absolute menace, but plot twist chat. These glowing snobs were totally stringing him along for free gig work. They genuinely never expected his bony behind to actually clear the dungeon. His patience completely shatters. He violently slams his fist down. I carried your entire mission, you absolute clowns. Stop stalling and pay up. The head honcho just flashes a slimy grin, softly asking if Isaac could tackle one more microscopic side quest. Isaac immediately goes nuclear. These celestial bozos actually think his brain is as hollow as his exposed. Big mistake. He is no one's doormat. A violent hurricane of black magic erupts from his core as he shrieks at them for having the audacity to play him. Yes, wreck those shiny frauds. Isaac. Guys, I think he caught on to our little scheme. One of the gods quietly gulps. Isaac violently roars. If you pathetic frauds don't revert me back to flesh and blood right this second. The Heavenly Council completely freaks out, frantically pleading for a timeout. Way too late for apologies. Dark mana aggressively swirls around him. Oh yeah, these liars are about to pay the ultimate price. He fires off his devastating ultimate, cackling like a total psychopath. Welcome to the Bone Zone, you snobby fakes. The deities shriek as pure destruction swallows them whole. But just when his revenge is locked in, his raging aura suddenly glitches out. His mana instantly evaporates, his entire skeleton locking up in complete paralysis. He is frozen, totally defenseless. The chief deity strolls forward, a sickeningly smug smirk plastered on his face. He flexes a bizarre, neon-glowing relic, smirking that whoever's name is etched into it gets completely stun-locked. A tight shot reveals a weird sparking beetle artifact. Right on its shell, his misspelled demon title Isaac permanently scarred into it. They dubbed this their legendary cheat code, Banish Disaster. Back in the driver's seat, the gods aggressively trash-talk him for having the guts to rebel. His final sentence, getting violently shoved into that exact bug. Like seriously, he is bald all over again. Could they not have at least picked a fluffy caterpillar? For round 3, disgusting. Out of nowhere, the insect artifact aggressively pulses with blinding light. But Isaac just starts howling with laughter. You absolute blockheads. His skeletal frame practically goes supernova. You should have smashed the ban button faster. The Divine Council completely melts, desperately reaching out and screaming for him to power down. But the fuse is lit. His final epic mic drop rattles the sacred halls. Choke on this, you trash tier posers. An apocalyptic shockwave completely shreds the heavenly domain, instantly turning everything it touches into cosmic dust. The gods are violently yeeted backward, utterly traumatized. Dude literally self-destructed. What an absolute madman. Deep inside the smoking rubble, they spot the tiny bug. Did the firewall hold? A crimson-haired deity intensely glares at the glitching insect. Boom looks like their trap actually locked him down. The Divine Squad is hyped because every deleted demon directly buffs their power stats. It is straight-up party time. Fast forward to their VIP meeting. They universally agree that another glitch like Isaac can never happen again. The head boss drops his new master strategy, forging a flawless human vessel. A living saint dropped right into the mortal world. Their one and only objective, to mercilessly wipe out every last surviving fiend. He commands the squad to hunt down a top-tier soul for this holy avatar. And as for our rebel skeleton, the head honcho pinches the twitching bug, flashing a terrifyingly toxic grin. I'm gonna make him suffer as a pathetic little bug forever. Meanwhile, drifting through the pitch-black void of his own consciousness, Isak is still incredibly salty about getting completely scammed by the divine beings. Without warning, a blinding light shatters the darkness. He instinctively shields his face, but wait a second. Those definitely aren't creepy insect legs. He's rocking tiny marshmallow plump fists. Wait, what? Did he seriously just respawn as a human infant? Did those supposed supreme beings absolutely botch their own magic? What an absolute squad of failures. Right on cue, a woman's voice shrieks out, "Oh my God, the Holy One is finally awake." Isak is utterly paralyzed with confusion. Holy One. The wet nurse sweet-talks him, but the shady dude standing right next to her whispers, "Would have been way easier if this brat just stayed comatose." His brain goes into overdrive trying to read the room. He actually morphed into a mortal, and these creeps are supposed to be his caretakers, but the vibes are completely rotten. The nurse's warm smile instantly morphs into an icy glare. "Sorry about this, Your Holiness, but we've got a job to finish." The guy whips out a baby bottle, sloshing with this creepy, neon-glowing sludge. "We need you to take a permanent nap." Are you kidding me? He literally just kicked the bucket, and now he's getting spawn-camped. The sketchy male nanny creeps closer, flashing a wicked smirk while waving the toxic formula. But right before the creep can jam the nipple between his lips, Isak aggressively dodges. Hard pass. He is absolutely not catching double death today. Thanks. The dude totally loses his mind. Why won't you just drink it? After enduring absolute torture to snag this human form, there is zero chance he's downing that incredibly sus beverage. He's desperately racking his brain to figure out this glitch when one of the assassins suddenly drops his name. "Sir Isaac, hold the phone. Did that absolute clown just call him Isaac?" A core memory unlocks reminding him of how his brain-dead demon underlings always butchered his name calling him Isaac instead of his actual name, Yisak. Did that smooth-brain deity actually make a typo during the ultimate sealing ritual? That's gotta be it. The entire cosmic spell glitched out over a spelling error, and now he's been rebooted into a brand new meat suit that just happens to share that fake name. This is wild. Pondering the god's massive L has him practically vibrating with glee, and he accidentally lets out a booming, baby giggle. Massive mistake, kiddo. The guy spots the wide-open target and aggressively jams the bottle right into his mouth. Bam! The traitorous caretakers pin his tiny limbs, brutally force-feeding him the sludge. The guy is practically crying, screaming, "Hold him steady! Why is this newborn built like a tank?" A disgustingly bitter wave of liquid floods his throat. He's raging internally. Are you seriously trying to game over me with this absolute trash? Left with zero wiggle room, he is forced to gulp down the nasty brew, as the two-faced nannies watch with sadistic satisfaction. Cut to the Holy Empire, Hellas' Central East Temple, where a crusty old bishop is strutting down the marble corridors, his yes-man shadowing him. He chuckles darkly, fully confident that the infant Holy One has already been permanently deleted by now. Out of nowhere, a deep voice slices through the silence. "You seem awfully cheerful today, Bishop." A massively intimidating dude with folded arms barricades their path. It's none other than the Emperor of the Holy Empire, Hela Alexander Heathcliff Hela. The old clergyman and his squad instantly fold like lawn chairs, bowing to the monarch's son. The Emperor drops a sub-zero glare, demanding to know what sketchy business they're conducting in this wing. Flashing a greasy smirk, the bishop claims they simply came to pay their respects to the new saint candidate, arguing that the Holy See always supervises these sacred events. The Emperor's gaze turns lethal. "You're phrasing that like doing your job is some massive chore, just because the kid is involved." He aggressively dials up the pressure. "Wouldn't it be an absolute disaster if something tragic happened to the Holy One on your watch? Again?" Right at that incredibly tense moment, a blood-curdling shriek rips through the hallway, shattering the standoff. A frantic voice shrieks at the top of their lungs. The young master. The Emperor goes into full sprint mode, tearing down the corridor. He violently kicks open the nursery doors, roaring for a status update. A maid is standing there looking absolutely paralyzed with shock. The young master. The Emperor's face drains of color, mentally preparing for a total bloodbath. "Is way too precious," she squeals. The entire staff of maids is completely melting over the crib. "Oh my gosh. Look at those squishy little cheeks." One of the girls even gasps in pure awe, announcing that the little guy just easily tanked 15 entire bottles of their super bland veggie juice. Yep, that specific juice. The bishop's jaw is practically on the floor. How is this infant still breathing after absorbing that insane dose? His brain is short-circuiting, fully aware that the formula wasn't just some healthy smoothie. Rewind to a few minutes ago, as Isaac was getting brutally force-fed. He felt a surge of incredibly dark energy flooding his tiny veins. For a split second, he totally thought it was game over, until he instantly recognized the flavor profile of this lethal cocktail: anti-divine venom. It's a highly toxic brew designed to obliterate holy energy, silently stacking up in the system until it triggers a fatal system crash. But there's one gigantic loophole. This toxin is brewed using pure demonic mana. For a retired demon lord, that's basically a 5-star gourmet feast, serving demon-forged energy to the literal king of demons. That's not an assassination attempt, bro. That's room service. He smirks internally, fully committing to chugging every last drop of this absolute god-tier mana smoothie. So he faked a massive crying fit for extra bottles, completely bamboozling the nannies, who thought they were just feeding a starving newborn. Those clueless caretakers happily kept the milk flowing, entirely convinced the toxins were stacking up for a lethal dose. Such absolute galaxy brain energy, right? Love to see it. His body soaked up the magical energy flawlessly. Whoever brewed this lethal... Okay, now that his tiny vessel is completely overflowing with raw magical juice, he knows his exact next move. Shutting his eyes, he plunges straight past his waking thoughts, sinking deep into the shadowy abyss of his subconscious realm. Drifting down to the very bedrock of his soul, he anchors himself. Right here in this absolute mental sanctuary. Honing his focus, he wrangles every single drop of that hijacked energy. Securing this foundation is literally do or die if he ever wants to cast spells again. But hold up, something feels way off. Is his energy about to detonate? He gapes at the bizarre phenomenon unfolding before him. These power centers are strictly supposed to glow in one of 3 standard shades. So why on earth is his glowing a blinding pure white? Honestly though, the weird aesthetic is the least of his worries. The terrifying density of raw strength packed inside this microscopic orb is straight up absurd. This blows every single calculation totally out of the water. Crimson sparks of lightning violently whip around his brand new energy sphere. He cannot even fathom how many divine buffs got stuffed into this infant vessel. Stacking power like this, he is on track to mutate into an entirely different breed of nightmare. Snapping back to the real world, he slams the brakes on his aura. Gotta avoid looking totally sus, which means shifting into maximum overdrive as a helpless, drooling newborn. Flashing the most aggressively precious, heart-melting grin he can muster, he goes for the charm offensive. The bishop, on the other hand, is The old creep shoots daggers at the crib, screaming internally. Just what kind of freakish demon is wearing this baby skin? He had banked entirely on watching this brat hack up blood and flatline, yet here the kid is practically glowing and giggling. Struggling to maintain his holy facade, the cleric plasters on a stiff grin while glaring at the tiny mastermind who totally tanked his master's scheme. This literal newborn is mocking him right to his face. Being clowned on by someone in diapers sends the bishop spiraling into pure, unadulterated rage. Bro is completely tilted. Let us hit the rewind button for a quick second. Just days earlier, the heavy hitters of the church were already plotting behind the scenes. Get this. There is an ancient prediction guaranteeing that whoever claims the title of saint will basically own the entire Holy Empire. Ever since that dropped, every greedy noble bloodline has been desperately shoving their own toddlers into the spotlight as prime candidates. Such a massive headache, complains this smug. The bishop immediately starts kissing up, assuring his boss he has permanently benched all the rival kids. But long hair is still aggressively stressed. Whispers are flying around about a hidden competitor popping up straight out of the legendary Ashua bloodline. Sweating bullets, the bishop points out that the Ashua family are literally the emperor's top enforcers, making them untouchable. Furious, the cardinal violently smashes his crushed. Well, that pest is likely rotting in the dirt by now, he sneers. Bro had already greenlit the Black Ops mission to wipe the competition off the map. All he needs from his underling is the confirmed body count. Flashing a wicked smirk, he proclaims the ultimate throne belongs exclusively to his own dynasty, the Barrett family. All right, flashback over. Snapping back to the present, our scheming bishop is violently tweaking out. He ordered a fresh corpse, but what he got is an obnoxiously healthy infant. Hovering right over the cradle, Emperor Alexander is honestly finding this entire bizarre Gently brushing the kid's soft locks, he notices the striking platinum blonde shade, practically a mirror image of the Empire's legendary original ruler. The gears click in Isaac's tiny head. This imposing guy is the top boss himself. Meanwhile, the Emperor visually scans the child, realizing it is incredibly obvious he is the ultimate contender. But wait, hold the phone. The missing puzzle piece finally snaps into place for Isaac. He is genuinely on the short list to become the supreme holy icon. Suddenly, the sovereign ruler is obviously completely smitten with the little guy, throwing the bishop into sheer panic mode. He knows he has to sabotage this wholesome bonding session. Shoving his way up with an aggressively fake customer service smile, he requests to run a physical on the kid, stubbornly claiming the situation feels highly sketchy. He points out that literally no standard infant could inhale that ridiculous volume of food. The emperor, however, casually brushes the concern completely aside. Why shouldn't a divine prodigy feast heavily on sacred nutrients? Honestly, absolute facts right there. In the background, Isaac is internally throwing a massive victory party over the literal Lord of Darkness is being hailed as their holy savior. But mid-celebration, Isaac lets out a tiny burp, accidentally venting a distinct puff of violet corrupt aura. Oh, massive yikes. Bro is completely cooked. Sensing his golden opportunity, the bishop instantly looms. Squinting with venomous intent, he immediately snitches to the ruler, swearing he just detected a highly toxic evil vibration leaking from the infant. A terrifyingly smug grin stretches across the old man's face. Jackpot, he finally secured his ultimate kill shot. Isaac freezes in absolute dread. This crusty old fanatic actually locked onto his forbidden power. Huge mistake. Weaponizing the moment, the cleric brands the infant an absolute imposter, aggressively demanding the holy executioners be called in. Dropping the facade, he boldly declares that the supreme leader has already crowned his personal champion, entirely rigging the game for a kid from the Barrett bloodline. Boiling with sudden fury, the sovereign ruler instantly realizes the corrupt pope is and just like a massive light bulb going off, everything crystallizes for Isaac. This absolute desperation to delete him from existence is nothing but a dirty, rigged power. The bishop snatches the infant right from the crib, gearing up for his next shady move. But hold up. The emperor throws a hand up, pausing the entire scene. With a dead serious tone, he checks the clergyman, making it crystal clear that House Eshua is top-tier family, heavily hinting. The holy man grumbles and backs down, but we all know he is still scheming in the background. Out of nowhere, he drops an absolute nuke. Turns out the Pope is straight up stalling the Crown Prince's official crowning until a new sacred vessel gets locked in. This is hardcore political chess right here. Honestly, it is borderline extortion. The big boss of the church flat out refuses to validate the royal heir unless he bags his hand-picked holy candidate. Taking in this entire circus, Isaac is low-key fuming at their pathetic little power grabs. Real talk, he could not care less about snagging that sacred title. The stakes are way too massive when his hidden Demon King status could get exposed. Sensing a prime window, the bishop slides right back in. He pitches running a quick vibe check on the kid, using a hardcore holy purification spell. He proudly announces that if the toddler is purely human, he will brush it off like nothing. But if he is hiding demonic vibes, bam, before the dude can even wrap up his throat, Isaac absolutely decks him right in the face with his baby bottle, setting off a blinding flash of golden energy. The impact is so brutal, it literally knocks a couple of teeth loose. Our tiny protagonist unleashes a furious string of baby babble, roughly translating to, "Eat dirt, you absolute clown." Did that actually just happen? Probably. The bruised bishop is left totally shook that a plastic bottle could pack such a punch, while the rest of the room freezes at the dazzling glow. The crowd completely buys that it is sacred energy, confirming he is the legit chosen one. But guess what? Isaac is just getting started. He proceeds to absolutely body the old man, with his glowing weapon spitting out baby gibberish insults that only make sense in his head. Catch these hands. Getting totally ragdolled, the holy official suddenly clocks the energy hitting him. It is straight up mana. Meanwhile, the Emperor is practically cheering, totally hyped by the epic glowing spectacle. Isaac secretly maxes out his bottle's stats with a physical enhancement spell for one final strike, all while maintaining that flawless, innocent toddler act. He slams the magically boosted gear right down onto the guy's skull as some clueless guard murmurs in awe. Dang. The Holy Father really loves testing the little guy's raw strength. Mid-beatdown, Isaac catches on to something crazy. Every single time he channels his magical energy, he catches a tiny spark of sacred aura hitching a ride. He knows for a fact these two forces are fundamentally toxic to each other, and figures it has everything to do with that bizarre white core he looted a while back. Without warning, the utterly pummeled bishop's eyes snap wide open, as pure panic washes over his face. He screeches at the top of his lungs. This infant is totally cursed. Isaac shoots the guy a glare of pure disgust. "You absolute snake," he thinks to himself. He never intended to stir up this much drama, but it is what it is. Uh-oh, what kind of madness is about to drop now? Right on cue, a spine-chilling pitch-black aura explodes across the chamber. We are talking a colossal, shadowy, undead beast, popping up out of literally nowhere, sending absolute shockwaves through the entire crowd. The royal leader, totally losing his mind with rage, barks straight at the "What on earth are you trying to pull? You just unleashed a dark monster inside the sacred halls." But the bishop, sweating bullets and frantic, jabs a trembling finger right at the toddler. "Are you blind?" The kid tossed the cursed artifact. Emperor Alexander just blocks out the guy's deranged claims like, "Yeah, nice try." He immediately barks orders at his squad. "Shield the young heir from this foul creature, and keep that crazy man away." In a flash, a heavily armored knight snatches Isaac up, dashing away, and leaving the holy official completely frozen. The guy just stands there, jaw on the floor, whispering, "How did I just get played?" Off to the side, Isaac glances over his rescuer's armor, with the smuggest smirk ever plotting. "You just got dunked on, you absolute bozo." Tucked away safely, our tiny king evaluates the chaotic battlefield. Let us see what kind of skills this guy actually has. Blades flashing, the royal squad corners the towering shadow monster. A super creepy hissing sound echoes across the room. Waves of pure lethal energy radiate from the beast, giving off major final boss vibes. Then its eerie whispers ramp up into an ear-splitting shriek. Slaughter the chosen one, Isaac, who is literally the one in the crosshairs, just blinks, totally bewildered. Wait, what? The creature blasts forward like a rocket of dark purple magic, locking its target dead onto the little guy. More warriors immediately dive into the crossfire, roaring, "Defend the little boss." Talk about maximum loyalty. They caught the assignment and basically went. Say less, we throw hands today. Isaac is honestly just super irritated. What is this creature's malfunction? I literally spared its life, so why am I the one catching aggro? Even so, he is not exactly sweating it. He assumes these elite holy knights will effortlessly mop the floor with it. Piece of cake. Yikes. Jinxed it big time. The supposed elite guard gets swatted away in a millisecond, crashing hard onto the tiles. Bro, are you even a real paladin? Be so for real right now. The dark beast bulldozes through the ranks, screeching for blood, punting another armored guy straight into orbit. Isaac just drops a massive sigh. Guess he is going to have to carry this entire raid and handle business himself. With absolute pandemonium breaking out, he figures slipping a little magic under the radar will be a total breeze. Time to activate stealth mode. Bro actually believes he can cast spells on the down low. But as the grotesque lich screeches perish and launches another strike, Isaac is officially over it. Seriously, why is every single person gunning for my head in this lifetime, he thinks. My stats are literally still loading. He shoots the monster in absolute death glare, fuming. Suddenly his irises ignite with a wicked blood-red glow. Uh-oh. A suffocating god-tier pressure explodes outward from the literal infant. The monstrous energy manifests into the phantom of a bone-chilling armored sovereign of death. You pathetic demonic scum. The shadowy phantom halts dead in its tracks, totally paralyzed by pure dread, as it instantly recognizes that dominant, a sovereign of bones, dripping with sinister energy. Well, wait a second. Isaac's tiny palm suddenly ignites with a blinding luminescence. Bypassing the whole dark magic aesthetic, a massive tsunami of radiant golden divinity blasts out from his tiny frame. Talk about a massive plot twist. Emperor Alexander just stands there, blinking, completely and utterly flabbergasted. The ruler of the empire is officially shook to his core. That scorching divine radiance swallows the shadowy beast whole, forcing it to shriek in pure torment as its corrupted body literally evaporates into thin air. Clinging to life, the mangled fiend completely dips, smashing straight through a heavy oak door in a desperate dash for freedom. The royal guards are completely spellbound. That was definitely divine energy right. The young heir literally just banished a high-tier fiend. This toddler is radiating peak protagonist vibes. The armored warriors swarm the crib, hyping him up. Absolute prodigy behavior for a newborn. Common W for the young master. Meanwhile, Isaac squints at his little shimmering palms. What on earth? This actually is straight-up divinity. But then a chilling realization smacks him right in the face. My mana pool is completely drained. A horrifying theory starts brewing in his mind. Is this cursed vessel somehow converting my dark energy straight into divine light? You have got to be kidding me. He begins heavily hyperventilating on the inside. Hold up, how am I even supposed to stack up magical reserves now? This pious... Off to the side, the crazed clergyman is still barking out unhinged accusations. That infant is a blasphemer. He wields the forbidden arts of the underworld. How dare you slither into our sacred realm? He screeches, desperately begging the sovereign for one final chance. Your Majesty, let me cook. I can expose this creature's true form with a full-blown purification ritual. However, the ruler's tone slices through the room like absolute frostbite. Wrap it up, priest. The sheer audacity to point fingers at a flawless candidate for sainthood. And to top it off, you literally unleashed a supreme hellspawn right under the noses of my elite guard. His booming projection sinks into a lethal, venomous hiss. I am 100% holding you accountable for this clown show, regardless of your Vatican ties. Are we completely clear? The religious official finally clocks that he is boxed in with zero escape route. If the throne starts digging around, his entire organization is going to be completely cooked. Pushed to the brink to shield his bloodline, he decides to go fully rogue. It is officially time to pull out the most reckless card in his deck. Pure, unfiltered malice flashes across his pupils. If I am going down, I am taking the Ishwa prodigy straight to the grave with me. A colossal, glittering canine phantom violently explodes from his core. Bro is leaving absolutely nothing in the tank. The blazing spectral predator violently launches itself into the sky. It barrels straight toward the crib at breakneck. He lets out a tiny, arrogant scoff. Does this bozo genuinely believe a flashy mutt can scratch me? Brother, get real. But then, reality violently crashes down on him. Hold up. My melatonin streak of sapphire energy cleanly cleaves the oxygen. Talk about a clutch buzzer-beating rescue. The choreography is absolutely blockbuster tier. That azure shockwave perfectly snipes the golden beast, neutralizing the lethal momentum instantly. Stopped. Stone cold. Suddenly a freezing authoritative tone echoes through the hall. Who possesses the sheer death wish to strike at the pure-blood heir of our family? A heavily armored squad flexing midnight blue capes marches menacingly into the royal chamber. The elite cavalry has officially entered the chat. Spearheading the formation is none other than Reli Eshwa, the formidable seventh scion of the legendary bloodline. Without skipping a single beat, the commander levels a finger straight at the trembling priest. Off with this fanatic's head, right now. Zero hesitation, absolute savage behavior. The captured clergyman thrashes around like a maniac, screeching, "Keep your filthy, cursed hands off my holy robes." The baby's pupils dilate in shock. That family title definitely rings a massive bell in his memories. Meanwhile, the commander effortlessly silences the priest with a sharp, "Check your attitude, scum." In a flawless, synchronized wave, every single blue-clad warrior slams one knee into the marble floor, fiercely saluting their tiny new overlord. The theatricality is completely off the charts. The seventh son warmly gazes down at the crib, murmuring, "Apologies for the delayed backup, little one." The reincarnated toddler is genuinely blown away. Okay, this squad absolutely clears the royal guards by a mile. It isn't a massive offering, the knight adds with a slick grin, but we did smuggle in a little welcome gift for you. He whips out a tiny wrapped package. Isaac's mind races. Is it a shiny gold brick, or maybe some epic high-tier loot? The knight flexes as he reveals the prize, a literal action figure of the Skeleton King, getting his skull chopped off. Yeah, read the room, guys. Isaac, the literal Skeleton King in the flesh, just blankly stares as these armor-clad bros totally geek out over their precious saint. Our boy is already exhausted. How is he supposed to survive this maximum cringe? But then a specific name drops that instantly sparks a memory. Eshwa. Hold up a second. Oh, snap. He definitely remembers that one saintess who crashed his domain just to wipe him off the map. The exact same warrior who led that massive divine realm invasion. And get this, every single saintess, century after century, hailed from this very bloodline. A terrifying, insanely awkward reality smacks him right in the face. He isn't merely some random holy prospect. He just respawns straight into the living room of his absolute biggest haters. Talk about a massive glitch in the Matrix. While his new relatives are totally obsessing over him, Isaac is just thinking, man, these Eshwa nerds are already getting on my last nerve. Off to the side, that humiliated bishop is still throwing a massive temper tantrum. He is screeching at the top of his lungs, branding the entire Ishwa clan as straight-up heretics. Zero chill detected. This dude swears he is going to dox baby Isaac's real identity, loudly labeling the infant a literal demon. The sheer dramatics. The holy man keeps yapping, but Relly is absolutely not having it. He unsheathes his blade without a single ounce of hesitation. Before the shrieking guy can even spit out another syllable, a blinding glint of steel, and the room goes dead silent. Relly towers over the collapsing figure, delivering an ice-cold reality check. He flat out tells the bleeding bishop to thank his lucky stars that his head is still attached to his neck. Absolute savagery. Isaac, always calculating the odds, is actually pretty impressed. This knight just effortlessly humbled a high-ranking official from the Holy See. This Relly character might actually be a top-tier asset, but right on cue, another armored dude starts baby-talking him, totally ruining his evil mastermind vibe. Okay, yeah, these guys are officially missing a few screws. Suddenly it clicks. He remembers these specific blue-armored Eshwa warriors. These dudes pack a serious punch, like literal final boss level scaling. Honestly, his former demonic minions had every single right to completely panic whenever these Azure Knights crash the party. Everything is finally clicking into place. The Emperor, who has been quietly observing this entire chaotic spectacle, strolls right up to Relly and casually drops a massive bombshell. The Imperial Palace officially demands to adopt the infant. Wait, excuse me. Relly just snorts, brushing it off as some twisted prank. But Isaac, his tiny ears instantly perk up. Is he seriously getting a VIP draft pick to the royal But the ruler's gaze is dead serious. He warns that literally everyone is going to put a massive bounty on this child. Does House Ishwa actually have the firepower to shield him? It is a genuinely solid point. Relly goes completely mute. The monarch's heavy words land hard, letting the sheer gravity of the crisis sink deep into the room. The royal keeps pressing, spelling out how even the big boss Pope is going to target the baby simply because of his silver hair. Apparently, it is a huge controversial deal. And for the ultimate plot twist, the Emperor claims the Skeleton King himself is actively hunting the child. Isaac is sitting there utterly mind-blown. Bro, he literally is the Skeleton King. This whole situation is getting way too meta. But Relly stands his ground. He respectfully bows, but bluntly states that the boy carries pure Eshwa blood. They are going to raise him. End of discussion. He firmly scoops Isaac up, radiating abs. As for the dreaded Skeleton King, really fiercely vows that the Eshwa clan can easily crush him. Then the knight casually drops a second nuke. The previous saintess, Melissa, would actually be totally hyped to cross paths with the undead overlord again. Isaac's tiny heart instantly freezes over. Wait. Melissa. As in the completely psychotic holy warrior he furiously battled right before his ultimate boss fight with the deities. Big yikes. So not only is he stuck in a house full of crusaders, but he is actually a direct descendant of the very woman who nearly hit him with a permanent ban. This is an absolutely unhinged plot twist, guys. His new life is officially locked on the hardest nightmare difficulty. A saintess, by the way, was basically designed as the god's ultimate cheat code. Her sole mission, completely delete the Skeleton King. She was an absolute myth, feared as the lion of the battlefield, the Holy Empire's most radiant superstar. Her damage output was so incredibly broken, the whole world swore she would be the one to finally wipe the undead king off the server. We are talking seriously overpowered stats here. She boasted ridiculous cockroach-level regeneration god, tier attack damage, and somehow she managed to stack massive buffs and scale higher with every single generation. She was practically unnerfable, but her dark rival, the Skeleton King, was not about to just roll over. He was an absolute terrifying force of nature. Despite his incredibly savage reputation, he purposefully never finished off a saintess. Why? Because he fully understood that if one dropped dead, the heavens would just instantly respawn a way more busted version, a complete waste of his health and mana. But that final boss, Melissa, she was truly built differently. And now, she is his literal great-grandma. You literally cannot make this up. As if perfectly reading Isaac's inner panic, Reli beams down at the tiny baby. The holy warrior, he boldly declares, breathes for the sole purpose of totally annihilating the Skeleton King. Major yikes. He then loudly announces that the Eshwa bloodline is insanely elite, packing more than enough power to guard the infant, and violently execute the divine will of the gods. Talk about a massive flex. Right on cue, another armored dude dramatically chimes in, preaching about the countless holy women brutally martyred by the undead lord. Deep down, Isaac is absolutely fuming like, bro, seriously. I didn't lay a single finger on anyone. Yet this armored dude keeps weaving these unhinged fairy tales about how they all dropped dead. Isaac silently debunks every single claim. That guy who perished in the maze. Look, it's not his problem. The dude had zero spatial awareness. And those 5 who literally gave out from stress, honestly, they should have just checked into a clinic instead of blaming him. Relias gently rocks the whimpering infant, whispering that everything is perfectly fine, even if he carries a dark hex. But internally, Isaac is absolutely losing his mind. Hoisting the newborn high into the air, Relias murmurs how incredibly blessed they feel to have him. They just hold on to one tiny basic hope. Please just don't turn out anything like that nightmarish Skeleton King. The irony here is so impossibly thick you could slice it with a broadsword. His blissfully oblivious parents, Isaac just sweats thinking, my bad. I am literally that exact toxic villain. The Emperor launches one last, desperate pitch, dropping the massive detail that a whole 150 years have passed since they locked that bone monarch away. Isaac immediately crunches the numbers. Melissa has to be pushing daisies by now, right? She was already hitting 50 during their final bloody showdown. The Emperor pushes back, insisting that with the demonic forces rapidly scaling up, the Saint is an absolute must-have VIP for the whole empire, not just a single bloodline. And then, he drops an insane bombshell. Isaac's own mother, a literal saintess herself, delivered him exactly 1 year ago, before completely ghosting the realm alongside his father. What on earth is actually happening right now? Bam, another massive plot twist. My mom was actually the holy saintess. Isaac is completely short-circuiting. Relias instantly fires back, swearing that the grand matriarch of Ishua is still breathing. And more than lethal, Isaac can barely digest this massive lore dump about his own chaotic family tree. Then out of nowhere, a guard casually name-drops that Dame Melissa is currently off butchering the Skeleton King's leftover lackeys. Wait a minute. She is still breathing. Isaac is fully spiraling into a panic attack. She is north of 200 years old. How is she still out here farming mobs? He is paralyzed with pure dread. If Melissa uncovers who he really is, he is getting instantly deleted from existence. He desperately needs to dip out of this lethal bloodline, like right this very second. Driven by sheer panic, Isaac shoots his tiny hand out and tightly clutches the Emperor's in. Time to deploy his ultimate trump card. He flashes his most violently adorable max-tier newborn grin, practically screaming through his eyes. Please rescue me from these psychos, my guy. And wouldn't you know it, it flawlessly hits the mark. The Grand Sovereign is entirely enchanted, 100% melting on the spot. Checkmate. The royal victoriously hoists the infant toward Relias. Look at that. The kid clearly prefers my company. Score baby 1. Relias, absolute 0. Meanwhile, cloaked by the pitch-black darkness, a squad of hooded figures huddled up for a highly classified rendezvous. Lurking in the gloom, their ringleader looked ridiculously arrogant, fully convinced they would get countless windows to violently raid the imperial castle. Even with the Emperor personally escorting the infant saint, their blood oath was bone-chilling. This time round, that holy child wasn't making it out alive. No respawns. Skipping ahead, a little golden rays bled through the windows, while the steady rumbling of a carriage kicked off a fresh morning. And take a wild guess where our beloved main character was actually rolling. Dead straight into Ishua territory, folks. Our boy was overwhelmingly depressed, painfully questioning how his reality mutated into such an absolute dumpster fire. You see, merely a couple of days prior, Sovereign Alexander was just casually hanging out with little Isaac, when out of nowhere the tiny guy erupted in this blinding, radiant, holy aura. Relias frantically protested, insisting that the Ishua estate was a highly toxic environment for a fragile newborn, to which the monarch coldly clapped back. You seriously act like our lineage. But Isaac was way too busy internally hyperventilating, instantly identifying that bizarre glow as the mythic tier survival origin trait. And right then, Relias decides to reveal their ultimate family artifact, the literal flawlessly preserved corpse of the legendary Skeleton King himself. Isaac was utterly shell-shocked, violently screaming inside his own mind. Wait, that is literally my old vessel. You psychos hoarded it this whole time. Why wouldn't you just drop that info first? Armed with this massive leak, Isaac completely flipped his entire strategy. He activated max-level adorable manipulator mode, waving his tiny fists and bubbling nonsense to score that ticket straight to Ishua. And man, that weaponized cuteness landed a critical hit. Relias was instantly reduced to a stuttering, red-faced puddle, completely emotionally paralyzed by the newborn's sheer charm. Snapping back to the present, Isaac accepted that rolling into Ishua was a crucial tactical trade-off to reclaim his vintage shell. He desperately needed those old bones, if he ever planned. Honestly, once he got it back, scaling up to a rank 10 absolute unit would be an absolute breeze. Plus, he calculated that Relias's heavily broken survival aura meant clinging to this guy was his ultimate insurance policy. Inside the rumbling cabin, a heavily armored guard randomly questioned Relias on why the divine faction was still obsessive. Relias finally dropped the heavy lore. Apparently some celestial prophecy stated the Holy Child was destined to be claimed as the direct offspring of a deity. Basically, the kid was hard-locked by fate to ascend as the next. Hearing this, Isaac's tiny brain completely glitched out. Seriously, what kind of chaotic fever dream is his life turning into right now? Just so you know, the Pope isn't your average priest. This guy is the ultimate holy powerhouse, casually throwing around rank 10 divine magic, with influence matching the Emperor himself. It suddenly clicked for Isaac. The Burritt bloodline had been hoarding the papacy for thousands of years. Letting another family snatch that crown would completely obliterate their monopoly. No wonder everyone was acting so thirsty for power. Bam! The carriage violently jerked to a stop. Big yikes. A scout dashed up to the window, letting Relia know they had officially crossed into the duchy. But plot twist, they hit a massive roadblock. 3 sketchy guards were completely barricading the path, hard-locking their route. Our protective escort was instantly triggered. "Are you kidding me right now?" he bellowed. "Do you blind fools not see the Ashua family crest?" Instead of backing down, one guard just flashed a row of razor-sharp fangs. "We know exactly who you are, and you're not getting past us," he hissed. Then, boom, their human disguises melted away, exposing their true, horrifying, demonic forms. These fiends were dead set on slaughtering the kid carrying the Saintess's bloodline. Isaac was completely shook. Back in his prime, he had strictly forbidden his kind from ever trespassing on human soil. The only logical explanation. Some rogue demon king had hijacked the throne, and the pack leader basically confirmed his nightmare, declaring that their new boss ordered a total massacre of all holy figures. Huge red flag. But then came the most unhinged bombshell. The monster proudly announced they were executing this hit under the direct orders of the legendary Skeleton King, Lord Isaac. Isaac was internally seething. These low-level grunts were seriously out here dragging his good name through the mud. Like, excuse me? When did I ever greenlight this? He mentally screamed. But before the fiends could even finish their villain monologue, a blinding pulse of blue aura vaporized one of them on the spot. Relia Ashua stepped out, blade gleaming. "You dare spew such garbage in my presence." He roared, "I'm going to make this hurt." He swore on his life that to keep this world safe, the Ashua clan would personally eradicate every last trace of darkness, unleashing an earth-shattering war cry. Relia and his elite squad rushed the front line, ready to drag these monsters straight back to the underworld. Relia was out here screaming curses at the evil Skeleton King, fully believing Isaac sacrificed his own minions just to cheat death. The drama was unmatched. The totally clueless demons clashed right back, shrieking, "Keep our Skeleton King Isaac's name out of your mouth. This is all for his glorious resurrection." Meanwhile, the knight carrying Isaac quickly apologized for the bumpy ride and bolted toward the tree line. Priority number one was keeping the VIP alive. He smuggled the infant Isaac away from the crossfire, hiding him near the forest edge and telling him to stay quiet. The warrior then triggered a high-tier ward, encasing Isaac inside a heavy-duty force field, before diving straight back into the bloodbath. Isaac closely inspected his magical playpen. Honestly, not bad. It was tough enough to tank hits from high-level demons, meaning zero interference from the outside. Absolute perfection. It was time to scheme, obviously. Survival. Origin. Activate. Release the seal. He commanded. Isaac immediately fired off a forbidden ancient chant, summoning his loyal shadow operative, Whisper, the all-seeing. A pitch-black phantom with piercing crimson eyes manifested out of thin air, looking insanely hyped to reunite with its original master. Isaac instantly told it to keep it down, whispering that while it was great to be back, they needed to stay totally off the radar right now. Whisper, basically Isaac's living GPS system, was practically vibrating with joy, having fully believed it died alongside the king. Huge weight off its shadowy shoulders. But the vibe got a bit awkward when the spirit started hyping him up for ruthlessly hijacking a baby's body. Isaac swiftly silenced the familiar's toxic rant about the holy factions, pivoting straight back to business mode. "Scan the perimeter for hostiles," he ordered. Whisper's eyes flared violently, booting up the radar. A massive sonar wave ripped through a 100-meter radius. Scan complete. 88 demonic signatures detected. Isaac's jaw metaphorically dropped. Sending an army this massive meant they were literally trying to trigger World War III. Knowing the Ashua Knights would eventually get overrun, he figured he had to wipe out this strike team personally, even if it completely flatlined his mana pool. But before he could even flex his powers, Whisper hit him with an insane update. The hostile count just instantly nosedived to 51. The numbers were free-falling 31, then 13. The Ashua vanguards were literally speedrunning the entire demon battalion. Right as the tracker hit 4, one of the bleeding fiends actually spotted Whisper, desperately begging the spirit for backup. The monster shrieked, "We are taking out the saint today. All hail the Skeleton King," right before a sword brutally severed its head. Oops. The surviving Ashua Knights just stood there, completely baffled by that unhinged final flex. Safe inside his bubble, Isaac was gasping for air, totally exhausted from channeling his mana. Whisper coolly relayed, "All hostiles neutralized, my liege." But right when Isaac thought he could finally breathe, the shadow pinged an entirely new, terrifyingly massive threat. A literal shadow lich spawns in. Its voice drips with absolute bone-chilling malice. "How dare you lay your filthy hands on my king?" The nightmare entity shrieks, vowing to slaughter every single one of them. Major yikes. Meanwhile, Isaac is just sitting there, totally stunned. He is like, "Bro, what is your deal? We are barely past the tutorial phase here. This newly summoned undead minion is out for actual blood, no cap." Enraged that its supreme overlord is trapped in a squishy little infant body, it shoots lethal glares at the Joshua Knights, barking pure threats like, "Do not even look at the kid with those disgusting eyes, or I will literally gouge them out of your skulls." Baby Isaac mentally facepalms. Great. This over-the-top fanatic just realized he is the legendary Skeleton King. Massive red flag. While Riley commands his squad to brace for combat, Isaac hits panic mode, frantically babbling. He is desperately trying to stop the Lich from touching his mana core, basically his only life support. A knight quickly steps in to soothe the crying infant, but the Lich completely misinterprets Isaac's desperate noises. The simp actually thinks its master recognizes it. So awkward. "I am coming, my master." The creature howls, tearing right through the knight's defensive line. It completely zeroes in, lunging straight for the helpless baby. Stan culture is out of control. As the demon hurtles toward him, Isaac figures he might as well use this crazed fanboy for a quick assist. He mentally commands the minion to smash the protective barrier. Work smarter, not harder, right? The Lich eagerly obeys. "I have received your command," it roars. Its arm morphs into a massive shadow blade, instantly pulverizing the shield into dust. The knights scream in sheer panic as their defenses collapse. Riley shrieks Isaac's name, but the kid is completely unscathed. "Take a breath, bro." Suspended in the air by the Lich's dark tendrils, Isaac lets out a tiny, apparently in demon speak, that translates to "solid job." Classic Isaac. But immediately after, Isaac mentally orders the shadow to back off and go to sleep. The Lich, absolutely devastated and entirely confused, can only wail, "Master." With one final agonizing "why?" the undead fanatic is totally wiped from existence. Poof, reduced to atoms. Hit by the sheer shockwave of Isaac's raw energy, Riley and his squad are left completely paralyzed. Bro literally wonders out loud if this tiny infant just purified a demon. The dude completely loses his mind, hyping up the fact that Isaac eradicated a demon kin on his literal first attempt. Which is crazy, because that level of holy magic is strictly reserved for high-tier cardinals, or a saintess. Riley remains pretty skeptical, considering he sensed absolutely zero holy aura. But his hyped-up subordinate argues the monster obviously felt threatened. That attack proves Isaac's insane value, period. Our young lord is just built different. The knight practically screams, fully convinced Isaac is the chosen saint. And honestly, even so, Riley cannot shake his deep anxiety. "But why did it have to be such a young boy?" he mutters, his jaw tightening. Uh-oh, massive plot twist incoming. The knight proudly swears on his life to protect Isaac's future. After a tense pause, Riley totally flips his perspective. He admits he was acting like a fool. Literal character development speedrun. He was terrified of the Skeleton King's curse, but now he realizes Isaac is the golden ticket to their family's glory. Scooping up the infant, he flashes a warm grin. "Let us head home, Isaac." He tells the kid he is overflowing with god-tier talent, destined to become a legendary holy knight. Honestly, Isaac is entirely on board with that plan. He just wants to hustle and get his original body back anyway. But out of nowhere, Isaac's entire universe shatters. Riley gently adds, "And even if your lifespan is incredibly short, I will save you no matter the cost." Hold up. What? Pause. Why did that sound exactly like a massive death flag? Isaac frantically tries to protest, but Riley just assumes the baby is pumped. First lesson on the agenda. Cursing the Skeleton King himself. Absolutely brutal. "Oh, you absolute Joshua scumbags." Isaac fumes internally, utterly resigning to his doomed fate. This is going to be one hell of a long ride. The royal carriage rolls up to the insanely massive, absurdly lavish Joshua Duchy estate. This place is basically a billionaire crypto bro's dream mansion. Peering through the glass, Isaac seethes with he instantly flashes back to his past life, struggling just to feed his own empire. Like, how is this even fair? His magical companion, Whisper, points out that selling just one of those front yard statues could easily fund 10 entire Demon King castles. "I know, so shut your mouth," Isaac aggressively grumbles. The boy is incredibly salty, right? Riley steps up, officially rolling out the red carpet for the baby at the legendary. We're talking ground zero for monster hunting and hardcore exorcisms across the entire continent. Absolute top-tier legacy. Gazing out the window, Riley beams. "Check it out, little guy. Give it a few years and you'll be flexing, just like those kids out there." Talk about insane foreshadowing. Outside, a mob of hyped-up kids is shrieking, "Drop dead, Skeleton King," while absolutely obliterating a training dummy, customized to look exactly like Isaac's past life. Big yikes. These toddlers are mercilessly slashing and cursing the dummy to shreds. Riley is out here beaming with pure dad pride, while Isaac is straight up sweating bullets thinking, is this whole bloodline just a cult of unhinged zealots? Whatever. Isaac brushes it off. His master plan: infiltrate the Holy Empire, roast the Emperor alive, and completely rebrand this territory into the ultimate Isaac Empire. Massive ambitions for a literal infant. Whisper chimes in calling him super salty for beefing with toddlers. Isaac mentally snaps back, commanding the spirit to zip it and run recon. Focus up, Whisper cheerfully obliges, instantly sweeping the perimeter with its radar. Jackpot. The spirit detects dozens of ultra-rare mana cores, literally baked into the mansion's walls. Isaac is practically foaming at the mouth over this. He's never witnessed such a massive stash in one spot. Exactly how many demons did this crazy family farm to get all these? The carriage halts, and Riley immediately barks at a servant to prep the VIP room. But the servant visibly cringes, apologizing that upper management ordered the baby straight to the dusty annex. Hold up. What? Turns out the fifth young master dropped a massive banhammer. Strictly for Riley is utterly heated. We've got major family drama. Riley groans completely over his brother's toxic energy. Isaac is sitting there confused about this whole annex exile, until Whisper practically screams that the rundown building is basically a gold mine packed with all those juicy mana cores. Oh heck no, Riley aggressively declares. He refuses to dump his nephew in some creepy haunted storage shed. Hearing this, Isaac goes into full panic babbling mode, desperately trying to communicate that he genuinely wants to be banished there. But Riley totally misreads the room, assuming the baby is just hyped to hear sweet bedtime stories about his own past life, getting murdered. You guys want to kill me? Isaac mentally screams. This family has zero. Out of nowhere, a crazy, arrogant voice slices through the tension. Why are you throwing a massive tantrum over adopting some random stray? The audacity. The newcomer sneers, questioning why Riley would instantly trigger a turf war with his own flesh and blood after being gone for ages. Enter the villain. It's none other than Goel Joshua, the fifth son bringing pure toxic beef. One glance at that violently punchable smirk, and Isaac instantly clocks this dude as a premium dirtbag. Living up to his trash reputation, Goel flashes a nasty, condescending grin. He barks at them to drop the brat, mocking that he's tossing Isaac straight into the garbage annex regardless. Riley goes ballistic. You can't just exile a legitimate Joshua heir to the annex. That's literally the dumping ground for absolute failures. Gripping Isaac defensively, Riley vows to personally tuck him into the master suite, with epic tales of the Skeleton King getting wrecked. Meanwhile, Isaac is low-key having a meltdown, silently begging to be thrown in. Goel just snorts aggressively, pinching the baby's soft cheek. Seriously, what graveyard did you dig this scrawny skeleton child out of? He invades their personal space, spitting "Air my foot." Isaac death glares back, realizing this guy isn't just rude, he's a full-blown menace. Ripping the baby away from the creep, Riley squares up, stepping directly into Goel's face. Do you honestly think I'm blind to your little scheme here? He aggressively calls Goel out, exposing his plot to brand the kid as cursed, just to instantly disqualify him from the inheritance race. That phrase, disqualify him, hits Isaac like a truck. Bro, absolutely not. His epic roadmap to drain this family's bank accounts, finesse his way to sainthood, snatch the Pope's crown, and finally body the gods, is suddenly in major jeopardy. Goel just smirks like a psycho, arguing that since a literal demon already targeted the infant, he's basically rocking a cursed debuff anyway. Boom. A massively loyal sworn knight instantly jumps into the crossfire. He claims that Flex completely proves Isaac is packing the holy firepower. Goel doesn't even blink. Just how much cash and PR did you waste trying to polish this absolute piece of trash? He ruthlessly taunts. If you're seriously capping about him being a saint, drop the stat screen and prove it, bro. Whisper, being the absolute chaotic gremlin it is, telepathically hypes Isaac up to just nuke the guy with a literal. He violently facepalms in his mind like, bro, chill out, Goel, then shifts his gaze, a super sketchy trap locking into place. He dramatically gestures toward a completely dead, gnarly tree, dripping with pitch black, corrupted energy. That sacred tree got straight up flatlined by demonic miasma. He sneers, his voice absolutely dripping with weaponized sarcasm. So if this kid is actually packing true saint energy, bringing that thing back to life should be an absolute breeze. Right. Isaac rolls his eyes hard at Melissa's wildly dramatic bloodline, But then Goal drops a massive nuke of a secret that instantly hooks his focus. Your oldest is totally MIA, and the second one adopted. Isaac's jaw practically hits the floor. Hold up what? Skipping the chit-chat, he snatches up a hyperventilating whisper and yeets the poor blob straight at the rotting wood. Fetch! Rely immediately flips out, shouting that this trunk has been dead for 70 years. But a massive shockwave of holy aura shuts him right up. He gapes at the sight. The sacred tree. A blinding emerald glow floods every single withered branch. Within a split second, the whole canopy bursts into brilliant, thriving life. Goal and Relay are just left standing there, jaws completely unhinged. Goal stammers that not even their max-tier healing spells could save this thing. Meanwhile, Isaac is just smirking in the background. Honestly, it was a total cakewalk. He just forced Whisper to vacuum up the dark mana choking the roots. Now the little guy is looking seriously puffed up. The squad of knights completely freak out, demanding to know what Relay just pulled off. But Relay, looking just as shook, swears he did not lift a finger. Every single eyeball slowly locks onto the infant. Isaac just lets out a tiny, unbothered burp, already over the hype. He practically threw away top-tier mana on a stupid plant. Suddenly, the Eshwa knights completely lose their minds, screaming, "Holy crap, Lord Isaac actually did it." Goal just stands there absolutely boiling, with pure, unfiltered rage. "You absolute lunatics," he hisses under his breath, flat out refusing to accept that a literal toddler just flexed that hard. Totally ignoring his meltdown, the knights hoist Isaac up like a god-tier MVP, hyping up his crazy exorcism and massive purification skills. Goal completely loses it, spinning his furious glare right onto Relay. "You pulled this off," he barks. Because seriously, an infant casting spells. No way. He violently snatches Relay by the collar, screaming that he clearly conspired with the a saintess, just to make this tiny. But Relay immediately shuts down that garbage logic. How the heck could he even link up with a woman who completely vanished? Isaac lets out an exhausted sigh. This family's toxic drama is way too extra. Goal then snarls that the kid does not share a single feature with their sibling. He would honestly believe Relay was their legendary ancestor Melissa wearing a mask before buying that. Plus, he spits out the infant is practically a carbon copy of that scumbag Pope. Oh, the absolute tea being spilled right now. "Drop the innocent act," Goal snaps viciously. "You dragged this garbage back to push him as the next saint candidate, fully knowing we have already secured our own pick inside these walls." A light bulb flashes in Isaac's head. Aha, so there is a rival player in the game, and this total clown is their hype man, an actual rival. Now we are finally getting to the spicy part of the script. Whisper chimes in, whispering that if a toxic psycho like Goal is backing the competition, then absolutely destroying that rival is going to be wildly entertaining. Isaac gives a firm nod. Boom. New side quest, officially unlocked. Goal aggressively mocks their eldest brother, branding him a pathetic coward who ghosted the entire clan the second things got rough. But Relay is not backing down an inch. He is our blood nephew, the true heir of our eldest. He holds every right to claim the throne of this family. A sinister smirk creeps across Goal's face as he fires back, that Isaac is nothing but a half-blood scrub born to some random outsider. And honestly, he sneers, are we even 100% positive that our brother is the actual father? The fiery, screaming match rages on. The puzzle pieces finally click for Isaac, so this is exactly why he is being treated like radioactive trash. What an absolutely spectacular life I have rolled. Goal bitterly mutters that the kid at least inherited his mother's looks. A tiny slice of mercy, apparently. But right before Goal can finish running his mouth about selling Isaac away, Relay completely rocks his jaw with a brutal right hook. Stumbling backward, Goal shrieks at the top of his lungs. "You absolute psycho! Did you just strike me?" While the two grown men throw hands, Isaac just kicks back and enjoys the front row entertainment. This vicious family meltdown is practically handing him free intel on a silver platter. The argument spirals into a full-blown, chaotic slugfest. Absolutely flawless. Isaac schemes internally. A fractured, chaotic empire is going to be so much easier to conquer. A deeply villainous giggle escapes his tiny baby lips. Whisper immediately shatters his evil daydream. Hold up a sec. If this entire bloodline goes up in flames, aren't you going down with the ship?" Isaac lets out a grumpy huff and tells the blob to zip it. Fast forward a bit, and Isaac is plopped right on top of a massive table, deep inside the wildly extravagant estate, looking absolutely fed up with this entire. They dragged him straight to the creepy boomer elders, who immediately start launching into a massive complain fest. Great, another male, an old voice grumbles. Isaac quickly confirms his theory. Absolutely 0 people in this mansion have their sanity intact. End of story. The toxic trash talk swiftly zeroes in on his mother, branding her a low-class witch who popped out a completely worthless heir. Isaac's blood instantly boils. Hey, you psychotic scumbags, you are crossing a harsh female voice slices right through the noise, dropping a dead silence over the room. We have reached a verdict. This creature will be banished to an off-the-grid minor branch. Pinning Reilly down with an absolutely freezing glare, she demands to know why this nuisance was even dragged into their territory to begin with. Isaac connects the dots in a flash. This Ice Queen is the mastermind, trying to dump him in the remote annex. And there is typical Goel standing right beside her, rocking a super fresh black eye. He barks at Reilly to respond to his mother. Suddenly the puzzle pieces snap together in Isaac's brain. So she is that arrogant brat's mom. Makes sense. Reilly straight up ghosts the guy, chillingly noting, so the patriarch is missing. Hannah verifies he is currently off the grid, handling that entire Saint candidate disaster. What an absolute pity, Reilly deadpans, his face showing 0 actual remorse. Massive cap. Out of nowhere, a guard crashes through the doors, shouting that Isaac, the firstborn grandson, just resurrected the sacred tree. Gaul violently shoots up from his seat, screeching that it has to be a total fluke. An elder instantly backs him up, arguing that if the head of the family failed to heal the roots, a literal infant pulling it off is mathematically impossible. Hannah subtly nods along. A toxic smirk creeps onto her lips. For starters, we have 0 hard proof. A second elder jumps into the mix, claiming the tree bouncing back is a massive win, but crediting the newborn is wild. Isaac shoots absolute daggers at the entire group. Are they for real? Bet they want receipts. Isaac throws his chubby little hands up, and the whole chamber gets swallowed by an overwhelming tidal wave of raw power. Class is officially in session. A blinding tornado of glowing blue divine energy explodes from the infant, flooding every single person in the room. This is radiating absolute boss energy. One of the geezers violently gasps his expression, frozen in pure, unfiltered terror and amazement. This aura, it matches the sacred tree perfectly, while the entire council is literally paralyzed by the heavy, divine pressure. Isaac spreads his arms wide, flashing a downright demonic smirk. Inside his head, he is screaming exactly one thing: get wrecked, you absolute bozos. Seriously, the aristocratic boomers are shook beyond belief. Our guy just casually dropped his ultimate strike on them. One elder finally connects the dots. The singular way Isaac could unleash that aura was by manifesting the magic physically beforehand. 200 IQ plays right there. Another geezer interrupts, stressing that this specific purification technique is insanely dangerous. A single miscalculation, and the sacred roots would be permanently toast. Talk about insanely high stakes. That is the exact reason the family head rolled with the secure long-term tactic at first. On the sidelines, Gaul is completely short-circuiting. His brain simply refuses to process the audio. Dead ass, he rationalizes, it is scientifically impossible for a breathing infant to execute that flawlessly. Reilly proudly announces that Isaac simply purified the corrupted magic, purely on instinct. Right next to him, Isaac internally cheers bullseye. Nailed it perfectly, my guy. Reilly proceeds to heavily rub salt in their wounds, flexing relentlessly. This tiny infant just effortlessly cleared a mission the entire holy church failed to beat for 70 straight years. Gaul violently punches the table, fully raging. He roars at the council. Are you actually swallowing this monumental lie? He drops all filters, screeching that the entire bloodline will become an international laughingstock for pretending a toddler ran a successful exorcism. He even drags Isaac's entire pedigree through the mud, violently doubting if the kid even belongs to the Joshua bloodline. Our boy Isaac, however, is literally just digging out his earwax, looking profoundly bored by the drama. Bro is straight up mining for treasure. Unbothered Reilly smoothly pivots back to the council, declaring with rock-solid confidence, this boy is destined to be a saint. End of discussion. He could legitimately claim the throne as the future pope. And Isaac, our undercover demon lord, plotting his grand revenge, is sitting there thinking, Spit your truth, brother. But then Riley gets way too pumped, hoisting Isaac into the air like a championship trophy and screaming. He will absolutely obliterate the Skeleton King. Isaac's internal monologue violently screeches to a halt. Wait a damn minute. Say what now? The Boomer Council instantly ignites at the name drop of that monstrous boss, but Hannah Joshua merely curls her lip into a lethal smirk. In her mind, Riley is literally speedrunning his own funeral. Flashing a cocky glare, she drops a massive nuke. If you were that hyped on his potential, perhaps we ought to put him through a trial. Taking her seat with a villainous grin, she officially demands entry into the sacred artifact vault. Oh boy, the tension is scaling up to max level. Suddenly the camera pans away. We are dropping straight into the northwestern territories of the Sacred Empire, buried deep inside the incredibly creepy black woods. A lethal sword glints in the shadows, cleanly decapitating a grotesque monster, like it is literally made of warm butter. A silver-haired warrior chills in the center of the bloody massacre, casually scanning the zone. Yep, this sector is a complete train wreck as well. He sharply analyzes the combat zone, which is heavily blanketed under a mountain of slaughtered demon bodies. A long-haired Templar steps up from his blind spot, dropping to one knee to humbly salute the Patriarch. The loyal guard briefs him that his stand-in has officially petitioned to unlock the Holy Weapon Vault. Yikes. Word spreads like absolute wildfire. The family head instantly guesses it is the Papal Squad making moves, but the Templar immediately shoots that down. Negative, it is a completely different player. He reveals that the Patriarch's literal grandson just resurrected the Holy Tree, and the proxy is dying to test if this kid actually possesses true saint energy. Shell-shocked, the Patriarch snaps back. What are you even talking about? Why the heck would a saint spawn in my own bloodline? Enter Eli Joshua, the OG Patriarch. He ice-cold rejects the idea, declaring that only a literal saint, major death trap energy, honestly. But after a tense pause, he abruptly flips the script. Tell them to proceed, he commands. Talk about a massive plot twist. Out of nowhere, a fresh voice cuts through the tension. Isaac, a striking woman rocking floor-length white hair and a crisp military uniform, basically spawns into the room. That's Melissa Joshua, the hyper-calculating matriarch, and a total, flashing a wicked smirk, she admits that resurrecting the Holy Tree is honestly an insane flex. Then Melissa drops a galaxy brain completely unhinged. Why not just toss every single saint and saintess candidate straight into the absolute gauntlet? She figures some random underdog from a rival family might actually snag top-tier loot. Sure, past saintesses completely flopped, but if someone manages to snatch a specific artifact, they could finally use it to hunt down and permanently delete the Skeleton King from existence. Eyes flashing with pure malice, she decides they need to slap a massive, game-changing bounty on this trial. She barks at the knight to spread the word. Whoever drags back the ultimate treasure scores a payout so wild, not even the Pope could fathom it. Flashing a downright manic, toothy grin, Melissa cranks the stakes to the absolute max. She is straight up cooking. Tell them we will hand over everything, and I personally will train them in our bloodline's ultimate forbidden technique. Okay, pause for a quick lore drop. The Divine Relic storage is basically an ancient fortified vault, hoarding forbidden techniques and legendary divine artifacts. Only kids under 10 are allowed inside, so it morphed into this intense coming-of-age rich kind of aesthetic, kind of shady. But here is the massive red flag. After multiple candidates flat-out perished, inside the Whisper aggressively steals the spotlight, narrating with zero hesitation. Watch closely. Our tiny master is absolutely securing the bag and surviving. Isaac, just vibing in his crib, throws a massive side-eye. Baba bro, why are you suddenly stealing the narrator role? Whisper smirks, teasing that Isaac is secretly hyped, and our boy aggressively nods in agreement. He is absolutely buzzing because his original ultra-powerful Skeleton King body is allegedly locked away inside that exact vault. A knight scoops Isaac out of his crib, cooing about how excited he must be. He leaks that the matriarch just cracked the vault wide open for literally every candidate, not just the Joshua bloodline. Kids from all 5 elite, legendary families are pulling up, including the Pope's own flesh and blood. But the knight just brushes it off, hyping up his young master for an effortless W. Isaac flashes a wicked grin. More players entering the lobby just means a way bigger smokescreen. It is going to make snatching his ultimate mythic drop, his own body, so incredibly easy. Riley playfully dangles him completely upside down, softly warning him to stay on high alert. The vault's interior is straight up guarded by actual ferocious demons, dragged fresh from the battlefield. But Isaac is 0%. If these demons got captured, they are probably just hard stuck at rank 6 or lower, absolute fodder against his busted overpower skill. Boom. A massive reality check drops. Nope, there are rank 8 demons prowling down there, and infinitely worse. A literal rank 9 dragon is gatekeeping the entire zone. Gulp. Is the Joshua family completely out of their minds? A full-blown raid boss dragon, guarding a day. Whisper tries desperately to inject some copium like, hey, on the bright side, you are basically a dragon encyclopedia. But Isaac just starts profusely sweating bullets. He flashes back to his past life, swallowing hard, as he realizes, oh crap, dragons are lethal for a totally different reason. I literally scammed half their population. Cut to a brutal flashback towering, enraged elder dragons screaming, what kind of absolute garbage did you peddle to our kids? Even the ancient elder got absolutely swindled. That bone-headed scammer finessed like 70 of them. This is a catastrophic disaster. Dragons have photographic memories and could totally sniff out his soul's signature. Yikes. Whisper cheekily mutters that it might be, the perfect moment to file for a transfer to a new master. Isaac fiercely grits his teeth and snaps, I can literally hear you, bro. Now his back is entirely against the wall. Our boy is barely surviving against rank 6 fiends right now, much less squaring up against level 8 nightmares and an actual, literal dragon. He has to grind those levels out, and fast. We are talking a massive, game-changing power spike. Honestly, he needs to straight up loot every single mana core hidden inside the Joshua estate. Flashing a wicked, money-hungry smirk, he locks his sights straight on the annex. It is officially robbery o'clock. Fresh off brewing his ultimate master plan, our infant protagonist Isaac is grinding the books deep inside the ultra-luxurious Joshua Manor. Whisper hovers nearby, visibly sweating bullets. Master, you holding up? The spirit asks. Bro, you literally look like you are about to get banished by a priest. Isaac fumes on the inside. If he just possessed divine energy, he could easily weaponize the exact same magic, meant to wipe him off the map. Whisper is absolutely losing its mind, dead set on the idea that Isaac is planning to brainwash a clergyman using forbidden arts and frame the entire Joshua bloodline as heretics. But Isaac just lets out a heavy, exhausted breath. Every single line of this complex divine theory looks like absolute alien code. Out of nowhere, Reli Joshua scoops him right up. Man, you look completely drained, Reli chuckles. Guess you have had a long day. Oh, true. It suddenly clicks for Isaac. Infants literally need to crash for 16 hours straight. Massive brain activity takes a toll on such a tiny vessel. While Reli hauls him away, one of the household knights spots the beginner's holy magic text Isaac abandoned. Talk about a massive question mark. Back in the nursery, Reli softly rests his palm on Isaac's forehead, channeling divine energy. A soothing, radiant glow wraps around our tiny MVP. It is a high-tier healing buff. Isaac is completely stoked. Perfect, he babbles excitedly. Hit me with a combat spell next, uncle. In the background, a highly stressed Whisper is begging him to calm down. Meanwhile, the guard gently reminds Reli that Isaac is scheduled to visit the annex shortly. The annex Isaac's lone brain cell instantly fires up. The grand robbery. He needs these guys out of the room. ASA. Without missing a beat, he faceplants directly into the mattress, executing the flawless, fake snooze maneuver. And unbelievably, the adults swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Little man knocks out insanely fast. The knight whispers in awe. Reli nods warmly. He truly is a remarkable kid. Isaac is internally cackling at how easily they got played. The two men finally decide to head out. Isaac smirks, thinking about what absolute clueless rookies they are, as he sneaks a peek over the wooden crib railing. But hold up. Right as they reach the exit, the guard casually suggests securing the totem for safety purposes. Isaac's eyes snap wide open. Wait a minute, say what now? Reli totally agrees, calling it his nephew's cherished first artifact. He commands the knight to mount Whisper somewhere on display. Oh, absolutely not. That is not just a fancy toy. That is a walking battery of free mana. They cannot just confiscate his main power source. Well, push comes to shove. Now he is forced to go full goblin mode to secure that annex energy core. He desperately scrambles over the crib's edge. Operation Floor Crawl is a go. Whisper is instantly throwing shade. Bro, are you dead serious wiggling your way over there? You might arrive by next Tuesday at this pace. Isaac smugly claps back that he has a flawless strategy. Just unlock the exit already. Whisper swings the heavy doors open but suddenly freezes. Wait. Isaac does not exactly have wings. He nosedives straight into the floorboards with a tiny heavy smack, only to discover the next gateway is heavily locked and blessed with a divine seal. That overly worried uncle literally just max-level baby-proofed the entire wing. He cannot just blast the hinges off. The guards would instantly trigger a raid alarm. Our boy is officially soft-locked in the hallway. Whisper lacks the physical stats to carry him, and popping off a spell would only turn this stealth mission into extreme mode. He wobbly pushes himself up onto his tiny toddler legs, desperately trying to hack away through this insanely secure fortress. Out of nowhere, the heavy wood he is leaning against groans open. A little kid pokes his head out, visibly jump-scared by an infant camping outside his room. Enter Shuri Joshua, Gowl's 5-year-old son, and a direct rival candidate for the Saint title. The brat immediately mocks the fact that Isaac cannot even stand straight. So this ankle-biter is his so-called competition. Isaac closely analyzes the fresh crimson seeping through Shuri's wrapped bandages. Whisper's temper instantly flares into the red zone. Who the heck dares to look down on my master? Shuri just rolls his eyes, acting all high IQ. He brags that possessing a totem is way too complex for a prodigy like himself, much less a literal newborn. To flex, he summons a tiny orb of radiant energy, just completely showing off. That little parlor trick instantly hooks up. Flashing an absolutely arrogant, villainous smirk, Shuri proudly announces, "I am the one destined to become the saint, not some baby." Meanwhile, Isaac is already plotting to hijack a heavy mace from a nearby training dummy, like an absolute boss. Rocking a pure chaotic evil grin, he tips the heavy equipment straight onto the brat's head. Boom. He just scored his free Uber. 500 IQ play right there, guys. Shuri frantically rubs his bruised skull, stuttering out, "Do you have any idea who you were messing with?" Isaac could not care less. The punk looks identical to that total deadbeat Gowl. He is absolutely just a carbon copy mini-me. Shuri was channeling a massive wave of holy energy for an offensive strike which, according to Isaac's personal rulebook, meant this kid had officially earned an absolute beatdown. Without hesitation, Isaac unleashes a relentless barrage of blows on the older kid. Mercy completely left the chat. Meanwhile, Whisper is hyping him up from the sidelines like the ultimate fanboy. Inside his head, Isaac is screaming, "Just accept your destiny, you arrogant little punk. You are my personal chauffeur now." Shuri flinches hard as a blinding shockwave of out of nowhere, a shimmering arcane barrier materializes, dead stopping the projectile in its tracks. "You actually think you are invincible," Shuri snarls, finally securing some solid protection. Isaac just stares, genuinely caught off guard for a second. Sensing his moment, "Shook, aren't you? Literally no one else in my age bracket can pull off Tier 3 holy defensive magic. But hold on to your hat because I am just getting started." Smirking like he already won, Shuri starts charging up for round 2. He violently unleashes a devastating Tier 3 holy offensive spell. Blinding celestial light floods the room. Bro is genuinely cooking right now. Yet Isaac just watches the dazzling assault with zero panic, quietly noticing that Shuri somehow managed to double cast the spell. A wicked little smirk creeps across his face. In his mind, "I appreciate the free mana buffet, bro." The devastating strike literally evaporates a split second before impact. Shuri's jaw hits the floor. How on earth is your defensive barrier that massive? He screeches, absolutely traumatized. Isaac just flashes a sinister smile. The older kid is completely baffled at how a toddler manifested that kind of sorcery, especially since Uncle Riley definitely never taught him that trick. Then Isaac flawlessly copies the technique, instantly summoning a cluster of glowing celestial orbs. Yeah, the baby is just built different. He hurls the blazing spheres straight at a petrified Shuri. "Appreciate the free masterclass, kiddo," he thinks to himself. "Are you kidding me?" Shuri wails, desperately scrambling backward on his hands and knees. Isaac just levels, spiraling into a full-blown panic attack. Shuri shrieks. Hold on. The spheres of divine energy violently crash into the floor, detonating all around Shuri. They barely miss his body but completely obliterate the pristine marble tiles. Whisper just spectates the absolute carnage. Umboss is casually ending a member of the Joshua bloodline. Really? A vibe. Isaac. Icy responds, "Whoever claimed I was taking his life. Shuri is— What the heck?" he mumbles, brain completely fried. Suddenly he vaults to his feet, absolutely seething with rage. "You little punk, your aim is absolute garbage. Why did you try to give me a heart attack?" He loudly brags that no offensive sorcery could ever scratch a prime saint candidate like himself. But then he instantly paralyzes. A guttural demonic voice rumbles, "You actually have the audacity to strike at my sovereign." Yep, it is Whisper going entirely feral. The familiar manifests into a colossal, nightmare-fuel shadow beast, its crimson eyes radiating pure, unfiltered bloodlust. We are talking final boss energy right now. Do you genuinely wish to be deleted from existence? The monster roars, extending massive shadowy talons straight toward the kid. Shuri can only let out a pathetic squeak, completely petrified by absolute terror. Bro got humbled instantly. But right at that moment, a chubby little hand gently pats Whisper's terrifying void-like physique. Classic Isaac move. The baby is just lounging effortlessly on the demon's massive shoulder, staring down at a trembling Shuri with the most unimpressed look ever. "What exactly are you playing at, Whisper?" his wicked smirk seems to imply. Then he babbles out his actual demands, loud and clear. "Pick me up. You are officially my Uber to the annex." Still completely immobilized, Shuri Joshua's brain is basically throwing a 404 error. This kid was literally manifesting his future as a holy saint. Seriously, he planned to ditch this toxic bloodline and skyrocket his way straight to becoming the Pope. Massive career goals, honestly. But those elite ambitions, yeah, they are on a major pause right now, because this dude is currently acting as a pack mule for a psychotic infant. Talk about a brutal reality check. Isaac gleefully babbles giddy up, straight to the annex. Meanwhile, Shuri is just agonizing, screaming on the inside and the outside. Right on schedule, Whisper phases into view, delivering an icy ultimatum. "Start walking, or I will literally rip you to pieces, you little pest." The completely traumatized Shuri has exactly one goal right now: survival. He is internally screaming for someone to rescue him. Forced to obey Isaac's wildly erratic navigation, he full sprints across the massive estate lawns. "Are you asking for a death wish? Pick up the pace." Suddenly, Shuri violently slams on the brakes. His eyes practically bulge out of his skull in sheer terror. He instantly realizes where they parked it is the infamous Joshua Residence Second Annex, otherwise known as the Cursed Haunted Mansion. He completely loses it, shrieking, "Why on earth did this little goblin force me to come here?" Actual people have lost their lives in this place, and the head of the family literally banned everyone from stepping foot inside. But Isaac, he is smiling like an absolute. The baby can literally feel dozens of raw mana signatures pulsing from within. Bro, this is the ultimate gold mine. Literally decades of free experience points just waiting to be farmed. Isaac ruthlessly smacks Shuri with his newly acquired toy. "Move your feet, you coward." But Shuri is way too paralyzed by fear to take a single step. That is when Whisper menacingly intervenes once more. The shadow demon hisses maliciously. Shuri instantly seals his lips tight. Grab the popcorn, folks, because we are witnessing absolute toxic power dynamics in glorious 4K. Trembling, they finally cross the threshold into the pitch-black, cobweb-filled mansion. Shuri is straight up having the worst day of his life, while Isaac quietly scans the eerie interior. The reality, way messier than he even imagined. Scanning the perimeter, a major red flag pops up. Whisper chimes in, validating his gut feeling. The entire structure is on lockdown, Master. Glowing barriers block off every single entrance. Shuri spots his out. "Yo, let's bounce. This whole place is locked down tight." Isaac's comeback. A brutal tug straight to Shuri's scalp. Shuri winces, suddenly clocking their destination. A massive corridor, decked out with paintings of former family heads. He rolls his eyes hard, totally convinced this toddler is gunning for the top spot. "Don't even bother," Shuri flexes with a cocky smirk. "The throne is already mine." Isaac, however, leaves him completely on red. Wham! He chucks his glowing, magical toy directly at the seal guarding a painting. Shuri loses his absolute mind. "Bro, those are our ancestors. Are you out of your freaking mind? What did the patriarchs ever do to you?" Isaac shoots him a major side-eye. Seriously, who slaps a high-level force field on a basic painting? Honestly, a valid point. Whisper cheerfully reports the seal is totally shattered. Isaac hits him with a hyped bingo. The road is wide open. He dismounts Shuri like it's nothing. He scrambles straight into the secret gap. Shuri just stands there, absolutely shook. Dude, have you lost the plot? Where do you think you're going now? But Isaac tunes him out, slipping into what is basically a sparkling gold mine of loot. He instantly commands Whisper seal it shut. Massive stone doors start grinding together. Right before they snap closed, Isaac drops one final roast. Way above your pay grade, little boy. Finally flying solo, Isaac chills in the glowing, energy-packed vault. Showtime, he plots internally. Meanwhile, out in the hallway, Shuri is aggressively hammering on the stone. He's throwing major threats, ready to expose the entire operation. I'm snitching on everything. You're so getting exiled. Out of nowhere, a deep voice echoes through the hall. He whips around, freezing as Riley, Joshua, and a whole squad of relatives march up. Riley pins Shuri with a dead serious glare. What in the world are you doing creeping around here? But before Shuri can even drop a single dime, an older noblewoman starts absolutely ripping into him, trespassing in the restricted wing, and dragging baby Isaac into this mess. Shuri is totally gagged. The elder keeps firing. The whole estate saw you lugging him around, and they tracked holy energy straight from his nursery. She completely throws him under the bus. Shuri frantically scrambles to defend himself, swearing he just gave the kid a piggyback ride, and it's a massive misunderstanding. Riley shuts him down instantly. You crossed the line, Shuri. Bullying a literal infant. He grips the teen's shoulder, practically snarling. Where exactly did you trap my boy? Sweating bullets. Shuri desperately claims innocence. He stutters out that the baby crawled into the vault completely solo. The entire adult squad gasps, utterly stunned. Riley sprints to the barricade, screaming Isaac's name. The elders are whispering in pure shock, when suddenly, the heavy door slowly winds open. Out pops Isaac, and the waterworks are instantly flowing. Honestly, hand this kid an Academy Award, right now. The family swarms him in total panic. Goodness, someone gasps, the poor angel is traumatized. Riley snatches him up, letting out a massive breath. He's shaking, but thankfully, not a single scratch on him. He then pivots, aiming a soul-crushing glare straight at Shuri. The judgment is absolutely lethal. You need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, Shuri. As Riley carries him off, Isaac peeks over his dad's shoulder. He shoots Shuri a telepathic shout-out. Appreciate the lift, idiot. Checkmate. Then his innocent face morphs into a wicked, villainous smirk. That was one 5-star mana feast, all thanks to your stupid self. Shuri totally short-circuits, screeching at the top of his lungs. In a wild mix, it is top-tier entertainment. Meanwhile, our boy Isaac is literally buzzing with pure, unfiltered energy. He just speed-ran a century of hardcore grinding in, 5 minutes flat. He clutches the glowing mana gem tight. Perfect, he schemes. With this kind of juice, I can finally trigger the master plan. Let him cook. Even with his mana pool totally maxed out, Isaac is still on that heavy grind. He is knee-deep in some dusty ancient scrolls, when Riley suddenly crashes the party. Riley waves over a fresh new face, introducing her as Isaac's personal assistant, which, honestly, just translates to a glorified babysitter. Enter Asili Lark, a literal holy knight straight from the Joshua clan. You just know she packs a punch. She immediately hits a flawless one-knee bow, swearing absolute undying loyalty to the baby. Talk about being extra, but Isaac's danger radar instantly starts going off. He is dead certain they assign this watchdog just to keep tabs on him after his little undercover mission to the annex. Our bite-sized menace dramatically points a pudgy finger right at her aggressively babbling youth. Then he drops a god-tier toddler meltdown. He practically shrieks at her to instantly log out of his visual radius. Both Asili and Riley are left completely paralyzed by this unhinged infant rage. But plot twist, Asili is not even slightly offended. Her face turns completely crimson as she stares at the baby softly, begging to just squish the young master's tiny cheeks. Isaac seriously questions if every single person in this bloodline is suffering from brain rot. Riley awkwardly pivots the conversation, loudly announcing a special present for his favorite little guy. He cracks open a super basic box, showing off a dull silver band that is radiating major dollar store energy. Isaac is massively underwhelmed. Like, did Riley literally dig this out of the trash? Even Whisper is starting to think the Joshua family went totally bankrupt. But Asili dramatically gasps. That is, the legendary saint's heirloom, for real. Riley flashes a huge grin, gently ruffling Isaac's hair. He managed to finesse this priceless relic away from the High Council just for his nephew. Isaac is absolutely floored. It is legit. This is zero exaggeration. This is the Elder Ring. the original superweapon, those annoying saints used to try and wipe him out. The divine energy buzzing inside that thing is absolutely insane. We are talking straight-up S-tier power. He knows it is a fragile item that will shatter after 1 or 2 uses, but Isaac flashes an evil little smirk, already brainstorming a cheat code to fix it. He shifts his gaze upward and catches sight of something that perfectly validates his paranoia. A lurking Goel is practically glowing with toxic, unhinged fury. The guy is absolutely fuming, looking like a human hazard warning. A split second later, Goel slaps on a plastic smile, instantly trading his killer glare for a sickeningly sweet vibe. Oh, what an adorable little... He creepily asks if his precious nephew is having a good time. Isaac is internally gagging. This weirdo just completely broke character. The plot is getting messy. Cue the flashback. Goal aggressively lays out his toxic master plan. He purposely sabotaged the relic storage's blessing machine to block Isaac's power-up. But the elders handed over the heirloom instead. The guy got completely played. He even threw a massive fit at the elders, desperately trying to read, but he got totally shut down. Shuri already secured his blessing, so stop hogging all the loot, right? Goal violently grinds his teeth, drowning in pure saltiness. His actual endgame was to stealthily pocket the relic, while acting like a generous donor. He knew exactly how clueless everyone else was about its god-tier stats. Snapping back to reality, Goal mockingly laughs at Riley's offering, branding it total garbage. Riley is utterly offended. The dude literally just trashed a Sacred Saint's artifact. Goal drops a toxic smirk, swearing he would never hand his precious nephew such bottom-tier trash. He dramatically whips out his own exclusive present, a ridiculously flashy, diamond-crusted band, overflowing with Sanctus Sect blessings. Talk about doing way too much. He aggressively flexes on Riley, claiming this VIP treasure belongs in the relic storage. It is a high-class drop Riley could never afford, but Isaac is absolutely not buying that garbage. With a hard pass, he violently swings his tiny baby hand, slapping Goal straight across the cheek. He aggressively rips the box away, internally gagging, because it positively reeks of the Pope's toxic aura. No thank you. And with zero hesitation, he full-on yeets the box right over the balcony rail. The ultra-rare ring flies into the abyss, perfectly synced with Goel's totally pathetic ear-piercing shrieks. Riley is completely mind-blown. Goal's shiny treasure honestly looked 1,000 times more expensive than his own budget ring. Yet the baby actually picked his humble offering instead. Riley starts violently sobbing happy tears. "Isaac, you are the absolute best," he loudly bawls. He enthusiastically launches Isaac into the air, swearing to only provide top-tier loot from here on out, while Asili hypes them up in the background. Meanwhile, Goal's goons are desperately belly-flopping into the garden fountain. They better locate that jewelry, or they are basically dead meat. But plot twist, Isaac secretly applied heavy gravity magic to the band. Whisper totally hypes up his master's genius strategy of dodging severely cursed loot. Isaac then chilly orders Whisper to go salvage it right at sunrise. It is basically free real estate, he darkly chuckles. That shiny trash is definitely worth a massive bag of cash. He is just gonna pawn it. Down in the courtyard, Goal is absolute cinema. A few hours later inside his private office, Goal violently smashes his desk. That tiny little demon he aggressively spits. He is practically foaming at the mouth, agonizing over the massive dent that jewelry left in his wallet. He finally takes a breath, convincing himself that a literal infant cannot even anyway. Major copium alert. His shady sidekick nods along, pointing out that firing it up actually requires the holy energy of 20 full-grown adults. Literally an impossible quest for a toddler. Goal flashes a toxic smirk, highly doubting that even 10 loyal followers would bother showing up. The very next day, Isaac's first birthday bash kicks off, and the mansion is absolutely packed to the brim. We are talking massive raid. Energy Asili is mind-blown, spotting 148 saint candidates alongside 4,000 snobby royals and their crew. The hype is unreal. She shakes a super drowsy Isaac, hyping up the guest list, dukes, marquises, and literally the emperor himself pulled up. Ultimate VIP status. But honestly, Isaac is just heavily annoyed. He rolls his eyes, betting those lazy upper gods are just copy-pasting saint candidates all over the map. So basic. Riley is low-key shook too. He totally expected everyone to dodge this so-called trap. This massive turnout is screaming red flags. Out of nowhere, a booming voice echoes. Duh, it is not a setup. What do we look like? Total noobs. A wildly grinning dude in a pristine white coat struts in. Enter Count Simon, the absolute boss of the merchant union, and Riley's day one bro. He makes a flashy entrance, leaving Riley totally stunned. Simon just waves it off, saying the gossip was trending way too hard to skip out. He bursts out laughing, roasting the Joshua house if those weaklings showed up. Talk about a low bar. Plus, with the insane loot the Joshua boss wagered, who would dare ghost this party? Even the Pope's snobby squad is dropping in. Suddenly Isaac is wide awake. Hold up, what god-tier item is up for grabs here? Riley heavily scoffs. Those stuck-up holy elites would never set foot on Joshua turf. They literally gatekeep regular folks for a living. Simon claps back loudly, flexing that his own son Armand scored the Saint Candidate title, so he has absolute VIP. The church needs to seriously touch grass. Riley desperately tries to shush him, but Simon completely brushes off the warning. A freezing, icy voice slices right through the room. As the old saying goes, nothing is more lethal than a trashy friend. A towering, creepy figure with long, dark hair glides through the doorway. He smirks, claiming that ancient proverbs never miss. Talk about an epic villain entrance. Simon and Riley instantly freeze up. All the color drains from their faces, replaced by pure, terrifying panic. Massive jump scare. Enter Bishop Barrett. The dude is sporting this heavily arrogant, menacing smirk, looking like he just conquered a boss fight. He slowly swaggers past the duo, openly trashing the pathetic Joshua family for daring to host. He mockingly praised their little infant can somehow pull off a crazy clutch for the clan. Tossing a glance over his shoulder, he admits he really came to inspect the kid. Who exactly dared to claim the saint title? But he shooting absolute daggers at the bishop, she hisses. Back away from my baby. The bishop's creepy smile just stretches wider. Consider this a massive, lucky break for you anyway. He theatrically places a hand over his chest, dropping the most hollow, chilling prayer ever. May the holy candidate somehow salvage your ruined family name. Sure, buddy. Right then, a terrifying shiver shoots down Riley's spine. Wait, is this entire mega banquet a twisted... The vibe is dangerously off. He realizes the candidate pool just skyrocketed from 25 to 148 in literally a single week. That is an insane nerf to Isaac's chances. And the church elites are purposefully turning a blind eye. They are just letting any random noble toss their kid into the ring. Absolute chaos mode activated. Riley heavily clenches his fists. A gut-wrenching realization hits him hard. This is a disaster. Under the cover of this wild competition, some shady rival could easily stage a fatal accident to take Isaac out. It is heavily giving Battle Royale vibes, he concludes grimly. Isaac is literally sitting in the danger zone. Our baby Chad, though. He just stares blankly, aggressively picking his nose, like he would rather be anywhere else. Unbothered king. And that officially wraps up today's epic recap. Smash that subscribe button so we can keep dropping these fire videos. Catch you guys in the next upload.